Oh man, that was a crazy movie. Well, that popcorn makes me thirsty. Would you look at that?
What a colorful bunch.
Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is a big one, okay? This is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. You saw my skit. I thought it was going to be a bigger popcorn bucket, but it's fine. It's cool. It's a good sippy cup for a 26-year-old man. So here we are reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And I'll tell you what, this is a video game franchise that I've loved since I was a kid. Like I said, I'm 26, I'm pumping on 30, I'm a boomer. And I've loved all of these effing games, okay? For the most part, the ones that I've played at least. And upon, rewatching Sonic 1, you can watch my review, Sonic 2, and the Knuckles show as well. All of those are out by now. This is a phenomenal, not only franchise, but just a really good, game-to-movie franchise that no one really ever thought would get anywhere, you know what I mean? So it's all Sonic the Hedgehog, he's a blue hedgehog, he goes fast, what do you do, But again, there's a lot of lore in the comics and the Archie series, right? A whole lot of stuff. And we're finally here again. This is going to be my non-spoiler review, but it basically just released in theaters, so, obviously I won't be ruining stuff this quick. But no, I think it's a really, really good movie, obviously, right? I mean, obviously, who would have thought they're going to drop the ball now? But Sonic 1 was really good. It was a grounded movie. Not a lot happened in terms of, the lore of Sonic, right? It's pretty basic in terms of that. And then Sonic 2, right? Oh, we get more Eggman, and he's a Robotnik, right? He's a little bit more deranged, and he's bald, and he's got the mustache. You get Knuckles, you get Tails, and all that. And then you get the Knuckles show, which focused more on Knuckles and Wade and all that. And now, of course, we get Sonic 3 with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Wade, Robotnik, freaking everyone, and of course Shadow the Hedgehog, aka Keanu Reeves, aka me. And that is very cool because I've always loved Shadow, okay? He's one of my favorite characters in Sonic. Obviously, I played that really horrible effing game where he's got a pistol, and everyone freaked out, oh, they better have a gun. And yeah, he's got the gun, okay? It's a plasma gun, but he's got the gun. So with that being said, though, this movie is essentially Avengers Endgame or The Rise of Skywalker or Deathly Hallows Part 2 of the Sonic franchise. Now, I know we're getting Sonic the Hedgehog 4 in spring of 2027. They confirmed it, okay? So this franchise ain't going anywhere. And there are 2 post-credit scenes you're definitely want to look out for confirmation of that. But, yeah, I mean, this movie feels big. It feels like an epic event. And that's because it is, right? I'm not trying to downplay and be like, oh, it feels grand. It feels good. No, it's because that it is epic. It's epic grand, It's really like a big movie. It's a big blockbuster film. And all 3 of these movies, and of course the Knuckles show, they have really great storytelling, right? Where you're able to kind of, like the MCU, build up, oh, we have X amount of Captain America movies, X amount of Iron Man movies, X amount of whatever, Thor, and then we bring them all together in the Avengers whatever, right? And then it's supposed to, and it did, feel like a big grand adventure, right? And that's because it was, and the MCU, was able to succeed with that because they were able to build up to that moment. DCEU, I love it, but I felt like they kind of rushed it, right? But with Sonic, they kind of do a Marvel, right? I would say Star Wars, but it's more MCU in this analogy here. But you kind of get the sense that they're, every movie and this show, they're building up to something big, and they're still not done. We're getting that 4th, but Sonic is great in this. He gets a little character arc, which, again, it's hard to kind of talk about this without ruining all of it, but he does get a really nice arc. Tails and Knuckles really don't get character arcs, so to speak. I feel maybe like Sonic 4 can dive more into Tails and all that, but they're in it and they're great. Of course, the movie is very funny. I don't want to say this and piss someone off because I always have a piss-offable opinion, but the Sonic movies have never been for children, and this one is definitely the least kid-friendly yet. I mean, for a PG movie, not as bad as Piece by Piece. That movie has some R-rated language in a Lego movie, but this one, it does have a lot of language, not like the F word, but it's still bad words. You're getting, of course, a lot of violence, a lot of death, actually, and a lot of mature thematic elements that, obviously, look, my theater was effing packed, okay? We got a bunch of people, the whole theater was essentially packed. A few kids, but most of them were adults, and it was crazy to be in a theater with a bunch of adults who were presumably older than me, which if you can even think that's possible, next to me, and they were freaking out, and I'm freaking out. It was just a really good theater experience. But that's what's so cool about it, right? These movies, little by little, build up not only Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, but also the human characters, right? So that one of the critiques of the Knuckles show was that, oh, it's too much Wade, which you can watch my review on that. But it is really cool that, in this Sonic franchise, I care just as much about Maddie and Tom and Wade and whoever, just as I care about Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow and whoever. You know what I mean? It's really, really cool that they're able to kind of do that. And this isn't like just I'm only here to watch the colorful hedgehogs beat the tar out of each other, and the human characters can go suck farts. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it works. I genuinely care about these characters and this world because they're able to build up on that, which I think is really, really cool. Obviously, shit goes down in Sonic 3. We all know what happens with Ariba. I almost said Ariba. Maria, and of course, Ivo Robotnik is back, obviously, so he didn't die in Sonic 2. And of course, Gerald, his grandfather, is back as well. Very cool. A lot of people don't really, I haven't heard anyone kind of talk about this, or obviously the kids won't, but, even adults haven't talked about it. When you get, two, like a character and another character, but they're both played by the same person, obviously the first thing that came to my mind was obviously the Acolyte, right, with Osha and May. When Osha and May are in the same shot, obviously there's either like a split line or there's, something, right? You film Osha, what's-her-face, you film May, what's-her-face, and then you kind of do your CGI editing magic, right? And you kind of split them two, or you take a clean plate and you add one on top of the other or whatnot. And whenever they interacted in the Acolyte show, I was like, oh shit, they're touching, like that's the same person, and they're touching. It was crazy. And in this, they kind of do the exact same thing, right? Both characters played by Jim Carrey, which I've heard people say that this is like a top 5, top 3 performance by Jim Carrey. I'm not a big Jim Carrey guy. I've seen a few movies of his, but yeah, he was effing great in this. He's good in this entire trilogy. You know what I mean? It's really, really good. Playing Ivo and Gerald, I think both Robotniks are really, really, different, but obviously in their looks and their actions and their acts and all that fun stuff. But it really, really goes a long way to, have these two performances, but also have them, when they do high five or pat each other on the back or punch each other or whatever they're doing, no one's going to be like, well, look at that. But, like, as a person who appreciates how movies are done, I'm like, oh, shit, like, that's a lot of effort. Probably not a lot of effort, I should say, because it's 2024. But it still takes time and effort to do that kind of stuff and have these two characters interact and all that. So I think Robotnik is really great. James Marsden and Tika, whatever her name is, Tom and Maddie, they do a really great job as well. They're of course, they've never been bad. Wade's in it for like a second, so if you were like a massive fan of Knuckles, Wade is in it. He is in it, but he's not obviously a part of the main cast, right? Just like some other characters I won't mention, but I think it is really cool that they at least show up and kind of validate the Knuckles show and all that. I was worried it was going to be effing Cars 2, where they're like, oh, from Cars 1 to Cars 3, and Cars 3 doesn't even mention 2 at all. Just kind of weird, but thankfully they didn't do that. But yeah, so if you're a fan of the show, you're eating good in the hood. But I think that for the most part, Shadow was great. Keanu Reeves is really good as Shadow. I think he does a really good job with that. The range. Obviously, he's basically John Wick. Keanu Reeves is not a great actor. I don't think anyone in the world would argue that. He's not like an insane actor. He pretty much just does the same monotone, yeah, hello, I'm a hedgehog, kind of thing the entire time. And it's fine. It works. It's not like he's like, Oscar-winning Joaquin Phoenix over here, but still, I think he does a good job with what he's given. Obviously, the whole Maria stuff is really great. I'm not going to get into the spoiler stuff of that, but I think they handle it pretty well. It is a bit different to they've tackled Maria in the anime Sonic X, in the Sonic, I think it was Sonic, was 6, or was it the Shadow game? I don't know, it was one of those. It's like that and not like that, you just gotta see it. But I think they do a really good job at that. Of course, the action scenes are freaking phenomenal. I mean, you're getting like Dragon Ball, me and my friend were talking like Dragon Ball Z type shit, where it's like crazy like Goku and whoever the F is, all Piccolo, I don't know, the pickle guy, he's in that, that was cool. But no, I think it's really cool to see the action. It definitely evolves, and it starts out, in the streets of Tokyo and all that with the motorbike and all that, but I mean, toward the end, you're like the third act, you're getting like crazy like Marvel Eternals looking action, you know what I mean? Really, really good stuff. The CGI has always been great. It's phenomenal in this film as well. I think Jeff Fowler is a very good director in terms of, directing this trilogy and doing a little bit of his work in the Knuckles show. He knows these characters. He knows how to build a franchise to make me and you care about a blue hedgehog. You know what I mean? This isn't like I'll bring my 4-year-old and I'll, go on my phone or whatever for 2 hours. Like, no, everyone, regardless of your age, will and can get invested in this lore, in this world, because of how well they've written it and built up to this moment. But again, we're getting Sonic 4, so this isn't like the end or anything, but it feels like a big climactic scene. By the end, you're getting badass action, you're getting fanfare, you're getting a ton of fun stuff, great music, great callback, good references. I mean, you're getting kind of like a little bit of everything in this, and it's really, really testament to the people that truly care about this franchise and wanted to make something really, really great. And yeah, man, I mean, they effing killed it. I think my real only negative with Sonic 3 is some of the jokes. I think they're all funny. Like, it's not like I didn't laugh. Obviously I wasn't like busting guts laughing on the floor, but it is funny. It's not a comedy movie, but there's funny moments in it. And there's a few moments in the trailer even where Sonic's like, "That's not scary," and then something happens, he's like, "Oh, that's scary," and I'm like, "Oh, that's funny." And then I feel like the writers forgot how to make jokes, so they just kept like effing repeating the same style of comedy. Like, "You're not big." "Oh, he's really big." "Oh, that's not good." "That's really not good." Like, stuff like that, where, like, it's funny, but I felt like they were kind of like they cooked. I don't like, they cooked a boomer, but like they really did a good job with the writing of this film, with the characters and the stakes. Again, it's a PG movie, but I'm actually kind of shocked it wasn't PG-13 with all the stuff that happened in it. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff. But I guess, piece by piece, the poster I'm piece by piece, the poster I'm pointing at doesn't, give you a PG-13. I don't know what to tell you. But, no, I mean, it's definitely the darkest and most mature, most edgy, most violent Sonic yet. And they're not just doing that to be like, "Oh, look at this," but, this fits the tone and the story that they wanted to tell. And I think they really, really nailed it. You know what I mean? Everything about this movie works, from the CGI to the acting to the writing to the voice acting to the story to pretty much everything. I mean, this feels like a big blockbuster event, and that's because it is. I think people constantly underestimate this franchise, and they're like, "Oh, it's like the MASTERFUL for children." You know what I mean? It's like, no, like, if you actually like use your brain and watch these movies, they're really freaking good. You know what I mean? It's like Ninjago. People look at Ninjago and they're like, "Oh, it's just a Lego show for preschoolers." But when you actually watch it, you're like, "Oh, this is like effing awesome." You know what I mean? I'm fucking 30 almost, and this is epic. You know what I mean? Like, people underestimate stuff all the time, and I feel like this, obviously it's not that underestimated, right? It's making a butt ton of money. But I don't know, I had that sick feeling that some people will look at, colorful hedgehogs and be like, "Oh, bring my toddler and check out." But it's like, no, like, this is truly a one of the best cinematic events of the year. Like, it's up there for me with like Deadpool and Wolverine, Joker 2, and this. I mean, I genuinely love this movie. Easily the best out of the three. I love all three, and I even love the Knuckles show. Again, you can go watch all those reviews if you want specifics, but I genuinely enjoyed my time with this movie, man. I really want to effing see it again with people. Like, this is a great movie to see in theaters. It's very epic, very, climactic and funny and fun and exciting, and also a little bit tragic, and, there's a little bit of, I didn't cry, but I teared up a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of really emotional moments that you wouldn't expect, so I think they really, really nailed the source material. They nailed Shadow. He's freaking great in this. A lot of good references and Easter eggs and callbacks, man. Just a really fun time. So if you like Sonic the Hedgehog, please go and see it. Again, it pretty much did live up to the hype. You know what I mean? I was genuinely excited for this. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it did not let me down at all, man. It was such a fun time, and I genuinely loved it, man. Really great action. Awesome moments, and yeah, again, if you're a Sonic fan, it helps, but even if you're not a massive Sonic guy or girl or whatever, you don't play all the games, like, I don't play all the games, but I know a little bit about it. If you just go into this, obviously I would see Sonic 1, 2, and the Knuckles show. Those are kind of required, it would help. It's like watching Avengers Endgame of The Rise of Skywalker without seeing any of the other movies, and you're like, "It's cool, I don't know what's going on," so it would definitely help. But yeah, I mean, Sonic 3 is pretty accessible. It's great for all ages, and it's just a freaking blast, man. I had a lot of fun. It's a big budget action movie with a lot of heart, and I think you're gonna love it. I'm gonna give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 an A. Yeah, I mean, my only real issue, like I said, is some of the comedy just felt a little bit like they forgot how to write jokes. But at the end of the day, I think, that's a very small complaint, because everything else is just top tier quality, insane. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video.